Cape Media Center, building community through media.
My name's Lisa Barstein, and I'm a TerraCorps member at the Dennis Conservation Land Trust. TerraCorps is an 11-month service program, and so I'm here at DCLT completing 3 projects over the course of that service program, and then I'm actually going to be staying full-time at DCLT once my term of service ends. So we're here at the Dennis Conservation Land Trust headquarters, also known as the Not Enough Acres Farm. So we got this property in July of 2023, and it's been really, really exciting to have all of this space where we can experiment with agriculture and also bring the community in to learn with us about different growing practices and what works well to grow here on Cape Cod. And so we're also trying to call this space our Environmental Studies Learning Center, and so we have a bunch of youth programs and educational programs that we're running. We're growing all sorts of things. We have a really great farm committee, which is a group of 10 volunteers who are all local to the area and have different areas of expertise and background when it comes to gardening and farming. And so each of those volunteers has taken on a small personal project at the farm, and that's why we like to call it our collaborative farm, because everyone's kind of bringing their own knowledge to the space. And so we're growing vegetables, we're growing native perennials, we have a cut flower plot, we're growing mushrooms, we're growing herbs. So it's been a lot of fun to learn and experiment with all those different types of vegetables and plants. We have 8 interns this summer. 4 of them are high school interns and 4 of them are college interns. Our high school interns are part of our science fair internship program. They're all from the DY high school nearby. And essentially what they do is come up with a project that's of interest to them, a question that they want to test. And we kind of help facilitate that process and provide them with any materials or resources they need to answer that question. And one of the really great things about having this space here at our headquarters is a lot of our students can also experiment with different agricultural questions. And then our college interns are also helping us out on the farm, whether it's weeding, whether it's harvesting. And then some of them are also developing professional skills that they might need going forward after they graduate when it comes to the field of ecology. And so one of our students is sampling a field that we have next door to better understand what kind of plant species are growing there. We just have some really fun collaborations that we're really excited to continue going forward. So actually our front plot is being managed by the Brazilian Resource Center, which is also another local organization that provides all kinds of supports for immigrant communities here on the Cape. They've done a really great job. All of that produce is going to the Yarmouth food, or to their food pantry. All of our produce is going to the Yarmouth food pantry. Yeah, just a really exciting collaboration we have with food pantries and different nonprofits here on the Cape. You can always check out our website, and you can find our email and contact information there. You're also always welcome to come stop by at the farm. We're located on Suet Neck Road in East Dennis. We love to have people just stop by, knock on our door, and we're happy to give you a tour, let you know a little bit more about what we're doing.
I'm Janet Milkman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Barnstable Land Trust. Barnstable Land Trust is a private, nonprofit, public mission organization working in the town of Barnstable. We are a land conservation organization, so our mission is to protect special places in the town of Barnstable for current and future generations, and we do that by acquiring land and conserving it in perpetuity. So all the land that we buy is protected forever, and we then commit to taking care of it forever. So over the last 41 years, we were founded in 1983 by local volunteers We have protected about 1,250 acres of land and helped the town protect another 11,000 acres. Some of the most favorite places that we have protected are Eagle Pond Sanctuary in Katuitt, one of the most visited conservation lands on the Cape, and the Pogue Elk Sanctuary behind our office, and this place here, Fuller Farm. I got involved with Barnstable Land Trust about 8.5 years ago, and this is my favorite job I've ever had because I get up in the morning and I come to work and I know that the lands that I'm working on protecting are going to be around forever. They'll be around for my kids, for my grandkids, for their grandkids, and there's just not many things that you can do in life that are forever and are so good in so many ways. We have about 1,000 members right now, and people care so much on Cape Cod about land and open space because I think they understand, beyond appreciating being able to be outside and walking on trails, they understand how important land conservation is to protecting the beauty and the health of our environment and also to our economy. We are a tourist-based economy. We have this blue economy as well, so lots of fishermen and aquaculture, and all of those things depend on clean water and clean bays and estuaries. Land conservation can be the most cost-effective and efficient way to keep those places clean. It's really important that we maintain our biodiversity. You can really only do that by keeping land open and wild. Anytime we can protect a piece of land that has ecological or conservation value, we love to do it. We do over 150 programs annually. Many of those are with partners. We work with about 50 partner organizations. So we have hikes, we have bird walks, we work with arts organizations, we work in the schools at every level, so from kindergarten to the community college. We'll partner with anyone who wants to work with us, helping sharing the beauty of the outdoors and helping people learn about it. We have lots and lots of opportunities for volunteering. They come in a few major categories. Our biggest group of volunteers are our land stewards. So we have to take care of 1,250 acres of land. That's a lot of work. And we have about 40 land stewards who help us every single week on projects, maintaining trails, removing invasives. So that's a big area of volunteer work. Then we have all of these programs, educational and walks and talks, and we need program hosts. We need people to help us on every one of those programs. And then we need help in the office too, and on our board. So we have lots of committees. There's many, many ways, depending on your skills and interests, many, many ways to help out. To learn about volunteers and volunteering opportunities, there is a place on our website, which is blt.org. You can fill out a form, and then we'll come and talk to you and find out exactly what you want to do. We are also on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Barnstable Land Trust is our handle, so we're easy to find, and we post all the time. You can learn a lot about us by following us on social media.
I am Andrew Gottlieb, the Executive Director of the Association to Preserve Cape Cod. APCC is the Cape's largest and longest existing environmental advocacy and education organization. We work on issues of concern across the region of Cape Cod. We've been around since 1968. So the mission of APCC is to help preserve and protect the environmental well-being of Cape Cod, both for current and future generations. Our programs and our scope and breadth runs from Bourne to Provincetown. Our focus changes periodically depending on what's going on. In today's world, our primary focus is on protection and enhancement of water quality. In particular, focus has been around reducing nutrient enrichment of our waters, primarily through controlling three primary sources. Septic effluent, primary means of wastewater disposal on the Cape is through backyard septic systems. Those have degraded our marine environment and our freshwater environment. And so fixing that problem and helping towns get the resources necessary to address that problem has been a primary focus of ours. We're working a lot these days on encouraging and creating the financial tools necessary to enable towns, land trusts, and local entities to preserve the remaining portion of the land of Cape Cod that is neither developed nor protected. 60,000 acres of prime habitat that will go a long way towards determining what our environmental future is. Doing a lot of work on that. We are very heavily invested in projects that restore the functioning of wetland resources, both coastal salt marshes, freshwater wetlands, and doing a lot on reconverting bogs that are no longer producing cranberries back to natural wetland systems. And then lastly, I would say our other area of discipline is in promoting good land use practices that homeowners can implement so that they can have their yards look and feel the way they want them to feel, but do it in a way that works with as opposed to against nature. We have active monitoring of a number of saltwater marsh areas where we're either planning to do restoration work or have done restoration work, doing the research necessary to understand what current conditions are so that we have a baseline to evaluate how well the system responded to the intervention. And then for projects where we've had interventions, we're monitoring to see how quickly those resources recover. We have a 9-month-a-year freshwater monitoring program where we're looking at 50 ponds in collaboration with Barnstable County to understand water quality in our ponds. We can do some broad characterizations of what's going on there. We run a very robust cyanobacteria monitoring program in our freshwater ponds, 150-odd ponds across the Cape, where we look for presence or absence of cyanobacteria, where we find presence in sufficient density that it creates the possibility of toxic releases from the cyanobacteria. We have an online mapping tool that we notify the public about the presence of those things and advise them on restricting or limiting their access and utilization of those water bodies. We have a few hundred volunteers that work with us on a variety of programs and efforts, everything from helping us with office work to being out in the field. The vast majority of the cyanobacteria samples that we collect are collected through engagement with volunteers. So we have an extensive training program with volunteers. They allow us to have a much broader scope program. Our baseline water quality work that we're doing with the county on the 50 ponds, every one of our samples is taken with a volunteer. Volunteers are at the core of the annual herring counting that we do as an organization in the spring. That tends to focus on the spring and the spring migration. We have dozens of people that are out in the field counting. So volunteers are a really important part of extending the work that we can do. So for anybody who's interested in learning anything about any of our programs, cyanobacteria, sign up for alerts, volunteer, just become more environmentally aware, visit our website at apcc.org. While we're still relatively small, we have been growing. I think our growth is in response to a desire from the people who live, work, and recreate on Cape Cod to preserve the nature of the environment that drew them here in the first place. And, the threats to our environment are significant and real. The destiny of this is not preordained, and how it comes out has a lot to do with what we do to be active, to take common sense steps to preserve the environment, and that's what we're all about.
My name's Kristen Andres, and I am the current president of Friends of Chatham Waterways. Friends of Chatham Waterways is a nonprofit on an all-volunteer board. We were organized way back when in 1983. It's a grassroots effort to protect Chatham's natural resources, in particular protection of our fresh and salt waterways, as well as the adjoining uplands. We have several programs, and primarily we engage volunteers. So we have a coastal water watchers program that was started back in 1998 when the town of Chatham needed to collect some water samples. About 150 volunteers were organized and trained to do water sampling from boats out in our coastal estuaries. And that monitoring continues on today, and we organize volunteers each year, and they're trained and they go out and sample. So we have a very robust data set, so it's really important to the town. We also have a pond monitoring program where our volunteers go out every 2 weeks and sample 5 of our ponds relative to potentially toxic cyanobacteria blooms. We collaborate with the town on most all of our projects, and the cyanobacteria monitoring program is in collaboration with the town and the Association of Preserved Cape Cod. We also, each September, we participate in Coast Sweep, which is an international program with Coastal Zone Management, where volunteers go out and pick up trash and debris on our shorelines, our coastal shorelines, and then they provide that information and send off to Coastal Zone Management, who maintains that data. Volunteers generally work with us in the summer. It's not a huge time commitment on the water sampling. The ponds get sampled every 2 weeks, and if you're a water watcher out on the coastal embayments, there's designated days in the summer that everybody goes out and does the sampling on the same day. So it's not a huge lift, but it's a great way to be out on the water and to work with other volunteers. There are other opportunities for volunteers. There are things sometimes where we've got events happening or other projects underway, and so we're always happy to engage whoever is interested to be more involved with the work that we do. Anybody who's interested in volunteering can go to our website at chathamwaterways.org, and there is a support button, and you can certainly join us as a member by giving a donation, and you can sign up to be a volunteer. We've had several exciting things that we undertook this past year, which is a big lift for an all-volunteer organization. In April, we rolled out our Water Pledge campaign during Earth Week. Our Chatham Water Pledge is an effort to bring awareness to how precious our water resource is. And so we are trying to engage folks to take the pledge, which means to skip the fertilizers, avoid pesticides, conserve water, and embrace Cape-friendly lawn, which is a Cape Cod lawn, which most of us who've lived here a long time still have. We have been having table events and trying to get that message out in many different ways. We have well over 100 properties as of August of this year, of 2025, who have taken the pledge and who we then give a sign to, and they can post the sign in the front of their yard and show that they're supporting those efforts to conserve our water and protect its water quality. 2 programs that we've had for many years now. One has been our grant program to the schools, the Barbara Stribert Environmental Grant Program, where we give dollars to teachers for programs that they want to do with their students. Often they are field trips, so we help pay for transportation or materials. And it's really just a way to ensure that students have that opportunity in the middle school and high school to get out into the environment. We also have a very robust scholarship program where we give dollars each year to undergraduate and graduate students who are studying in the environmental field. So we really feel strongly about educating our next conservationists. The purpose of FCW is to fill that gap between town government and what needs to be done to really help protect our natural resources. There is no way that the town could have afforded to have paid for somebody to do all this water sampling, and so our volunteers really fill that niche. And also the other gap is that the town doesn't have a lot of resources for education and outreach, and so we try to fulfill that for the community, and we try to provide educational events and information to the citizens and advocate when necessary.
Hi, I'm Z. Crocker. I'm with the Barnstable Clean Water Coalition, and we're an organization here on Cape Cod in the town of Barnstable, although we're focused on work that really is relevant for the whole county, for the whole peninsula, and that is clean water. How do we make sure on Cape Cod we have clean water, and what are the issues? Is there a water problem? Well, yes, there is. There's a problem because there's so many of us. And all of us, about 170,000 households on Cape Cod, are constantly generating wastewater. And in the wastewater, we have a lot of nutrients. The principal problem for the estuaries, for the salt water, is nitrogen. That comes from our urine. And that really doesn't get treated by our cesspools or by our Title V systems that we have. So we're trying to figure out how do we fix that problem. And Barnstable Clean Water Coalition is working on 2 things. One is a new kind of septic system, an alternative advanced septic system that can remove nitrogen. And the other thing we're working on is what are we going to do about the groundwater already? So the groundwater on Cape Cod is saturated with nitrogen-loaded water. And when that water gets into the salt water, it really is just fertilizer that causes algal blooms for algae to grow. Whether it's seaweed that you can see easily with your eyes, or whether it's, gee, the water's brown, what's going on? And that can be microscopic algae. In either case, it wasn't the way it used to be when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I could sit on the dock and fish, and I could see 10 or 12 feet in the water, and I could see the fish take my bait. Now, when I sit on an estuary almost anywhere on the south side of Cape Cod, I can only see about this deep. And that's the problem. We want to fix that. We can fix that. It'll take about a generation, but that's the passion, that's the work, that's what we're doing at Barnstable Clean Water Coalition. And the other thing we're trying to do is look at restoration of certain cranberry bogs. Some cranberry bogs, and we've acquired about 65 acres of cranberry bogs in the heart of Marston's Mills. And these are actually at the headwaters, at the very beginning of the Marston's Mills River. So we're looking at these restorations kind of like a restoration, a mini version of the Everglades, turning it back into a wetlands. Wetlands are the most successful natural way to clean water of any kind of contaminant, any kind of nutrient. And these wetlands can filter out the nitrogen, turn it into gas. The plants consume it, can filter out other contaminants as well. So that's a great system. But we really said, if we don't have clean water, what do we have? Here, we can intercept water that flows down the Marston's Mills River and gets to the estuary in just 5 hours. And that's a great target for us to clean up the water, because groundwater moves 1 to 4 feet a day on Cape Cod. So if you want to understand more about our work, look at our videos, volunteer, donate money to us. If you're passionate about the water on Cape Cod, come see what we do. Barnstable Clean Water Coalition, that's us. We're passionate. We'd love to get you involved. Thanks for listening.